Hello, and welcome to the podcast, The Shift Happens with Dr. Divi. And thank you so much for being here. Today, we're going to be focusing on mental health. Last week, we focused a lot on the body and its connection with healing with different modalities. And this week, I thought we would dive into mental health. Plus, a few emails that I've received from you guys are like, okay, Divi, talk about mental health now. That's what we're going to do. But before I dive in, at the start of every podcast I do, I try to bring you into my world. I live here in Greater Vancouver. I have some amazing events I would love to tell you about. I teach a lot of classes and workshops. And my greatest joy is to help people heal through love and through spirit. That's what I love to do. I help them shift their thoughts to step into love. And that heals our relationships, health, money, lots of areas of our lives. If you're interested in working with me a bit deeper, you can join a group coaching courses that I've got going on starting in September. So I've got a health and relationships class that's on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. These are small groups of up to 10 people, and that's for a minimum 3-month commitment, but they're so deep and so expansive. Then I've also got a class called The Divine Mother, which starts also in September, which is all about connecting with a part of us that is infinite love. And then lastly, if you're rocking the intuition part of what I do, join me for the weekend called Intuition Unlocked, which is in October. Again, here in Vancouver. I would love to have you. So welcome. So today we're going to be talking about mental health and how we work with it in a spiritual realm. But before I dive in deeper, let's first talk about what we experience in the allopathic realm. Now, I need to say before I jump in here, this is a topic I'm very passionate about. So if you hear a lot of passion in my voice, it's just because it's something I so deeply believe in. I myself have suffered from a lot of anxiety in my life. My mother had a lot of anxiety, both undiagnosed and untreated, basically her whole life. She is still alive, and her anxiety is now affecting her body in a way that I would wish on my worst enemy. It's horrible to watch. I love my mother. And anxiety is one of those things that mental health does, traditional mental health does a meh job on. But let's talk about first why. The traditional approach to all health issues, whether it be depression, anxiety, bipolar, grief reactions, tends to be very allopathic. And a lot of people turn to my work because they're tired of the allopathic. They're like, okay, I've done that. I've taken the medications. I'm not getting anywhere. I want a different approach. But first, we're going to spend a few minutes talking about why. Why are we here? Why are we in this mess that we're in, for lack of a better word? Why are we dealing with so many people with mental health issues that no matter how much Prozac and Paxil they take, Effexor or whatever latest drug is, that there isn't really a shift? Why are we seeing people go to therapy and psychologists and still saying kind of meh? In my opinion, the reason we're seeing that is because at a certain point in healthcare, medicine, conventional medicine, was separated from spirit. Traditional medicine was thought to be in the allopathic realm. Let us fix the symptoms with medications. Spirit, faith, energy was left to the church for lots of different reasons. One is because medicine really focuses a lot on the body and what we can measure. And because spirit, faith, and energy are harder to prove, there hasn't been a lot of work done on it, and those two industries separated ways. Another reason that we see the separation is because people actually want it too. We want to know that my depression is because, sure, my trauma, but also because of the chemicals in my brain. And unfortunately, we want to play the victim role. So we take medications. And again, before I keep going, I never want you to think I think there's anything wrong with medications, because there absolutely isn't. Nothing at all. But it only takes us so far. So what psychiatry has done is done more what's called a reductionist approach to psychiatry, which is just take these medications and we'll see what happens. So my approach to mental health is completely different. And that's what we're going to jump into in a few minutes here. Nowadays, though, we are seeing things change. As you may know, I graduated medical school class in 93. It's 2025 today. Things are changing. We have mindfulness groups, meditation groups. Gabor Mate teaches a lot about compassion. So a lot of people are bringing this forth, but there's still some stuff that's missing. And that's what we're talking about today, about mental health, approaching it from the work that I do. So we talk about how all heaven or hell can actually be in the mind. It's not a location. I was raised to think that heaven was a place I went to if I died and was good, and hell was a place I went to if I died and was bad. That really sucks. But what I've actually realized is heaven and hell is actually a state of mind. It's a way of thinking. It's what we experience. It's not necessarily want, but it's a state of mind. That's point number one. We can be in the most amazing mood, joyful, full of love, ease, freedom, and that can experience heaven. Or I can be in fear, guilt, anger, worry, and that can be hell. It's 100% a state of mind. And medicine, I'm not saying that the serotonin theory is incorrect. Medicine has studied it and said, well, your serotonin is off, your dopamine is off, so let's give these to you. And almost everybody I've worked with, those medications work temporarily for some people, and then they stop working. Then you switch drugs, you do ECT, you do all kinds of things. But in my world, you've never addressed the primary issue, and that's where we're going next. The second point of today's podcast is to understand that we cannot really heal mental health at all until we dive into the spiritual realm. And we can never heal mental health until we truly understand the nature of who we are in the divine sense. You might be thinking, oh, Divya, I want to hit the stop button and send you a hate mail. The divine essence of who each of us are is pure love. Our innateness is sinless. Our innateness is beauty. Our innateness is the consciousness of love. That is who we are to our core being. Now, I can hear some of you. You'll be like, but what about that murderer? What about that bad person? I'm not denying they did a bad thing. In fact, if they shot somebody, not the best thing. But why did they do that? Because they had a moment in their head where they themselves had trauma. So hurt people hurt people. It's really simple. There's not one person who commits a crime like that who doesn't have a story. And that story is often, I'm not loved. The story is often, I've been done wrong by. That story is often, the world is a horrible place, I need to get vengeance. And there's a deep disconnect for those people between the divine nature of who they are and what they're experiencing. So they have hell in their mind. And they think by taking a gun or doing something, they're going to feel better. And we all know that that's not true. Now, am I saying let these people off the hook? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to have a reform of some sort. We need to understand that they made a mistake. We need to understand they made a mistake of thought. And that mistake of thought occurred when they were younger. And then that caused them to pick up a gun and do a heinous act. I know that was a sidebar, but that's a really important thing to understand. Depression, anxiety, and all mental health comes from the split between who we are in the ego thought system versus who we are in our true love thought system. And we cannot understand who we are in our true love thought system if we're not open to it. There's a part within each of us who is unconditional love. And when we find that part, we have more thoughts that say, you are love. When we are more that part, we start to realize, I am spirit. When we have that part of us awake, we realize, I am. And in that place, we're no longer connected to the body. We know there's something much bigger than us. And when we're there, we'll never pick up a gun. We'll never hurt anybody. So really important to understand that there's two parts of us. The ego thought system, which is fear-based, but each of us, regardless of the acts we've done in the past, have a part of us that's unconditional love. That's the second part of today's podcast. The third part that's really important about mental health that we want to understand is that nowadays we have so many labels. You're depressed, you've done it wrong, you're bad because you're anxious. And that thought system, thought 1 becomes thought 2, becomes thought 3, becomes thought 4. Our thoughts create a vibration, and the vibration brings back to us more of it. It's called the law of vibration and the law of cause and effect. If I keep putting out that I'm depressed and I'm bad and there's something wrong with me, I'm going to get more of that back. If I live in the frequency of guilt or fear or anxiety, I'm going to get more of it back. But what we don't recognize is that we're actually choosing a thought that isn't serving us. Let's go to the next step. The next step is to realize that we can get a break from these thoughts. So nowadays, there's so many things that are out there. Breath work, meditation, yoga, hot-cold cycling. All these things give us a break from the nervous system. There's a common topic nowadays. Our nervous system is fried. I need a break from my nervous system. Right? But the reason for that break is pinnacle. The reason for that break is when I have a break from those thoughts from a hot-cold cycle. I have a break from those thoughts from a yoga class. I have a break from those thoughts after doing breath work. That's when I can step out of those thoughts and go, oh, I can see that I'm thinking a thought that then is going down that rabbit hole and then creating the depression, anxiety that is overwhelming my body. That is not who I am. And then the last step, I close my eyes and I remember who I am. And I start doing an affirmation or a meditation and I breathe and I say, I am that I am. And just breathe into that. I am that I am. Breathe more. I am that I am. And as I keep chanting this little statement, I've done some breath work, I've done some hot cold, I'm no longer in that deep depression, anxiety. Just that statement, I am that I am, done 108 times, gives me a break from my mind. And once I have a break from my mind, I have a bit of insight. Maybe an affirmation comes to me. I am not my body. I am not my mind. I am not broken. This mind that I'm listening to is turned to a channel that's hurting me, but it's not true. And then with the hand on the heart, I can simply say, I am whole. I am love. I am connected. I am whole. I am love. I am connected. I am love. I am whole. I am connected. As you breathe. And then you can remind yourself, every little fearful thought that is running through my mind right now, it's like a cloud in the sky that's just drifting by. And behind that cloud is sunlight. My job is to find that light. I am love. I am whole. I am connected. Take a few breaths. Go ahead. And if you closed your eyes, go and open them. Let's do a bit of a wrap up. So again, if you're suffering from a mental health issue, anxiety, depression, bipolar, prolonged grief, whatever it might be, please remember our current way of allopathic healthcare, it's not wrong, but it goes about fixing something. And if I'm trying to fix something, I'm convinced I'm broken. That ain't working for me. So what can I do? I'm going to start to change my thoughts. I'm going to be open that there's a different way to approach it. What could be the different way? Well, maybe I'm not just this body and maybe not just this mind. Maybe I'm more than that. Okay. Maybe I'm not those thoughts. Maybe I am something bigger. Then when I'm really down the rabbit hole, I have to remind myself, okay, this is not who I am. Let me go a hot, cold plunge. Let me go to do some meditation. Let me go do a yoga class. Let me exercise. And as soon as I stop doing that exercise, let me get really general and say things like, I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that. I am. I am. I am. After saying that 5 or 6 times, I've neutralized the downward spiral. Now I can remind myself, I am not this mind. I am not broken. I am not my illness. I am not my anxiety. I am the light. I am whole. I am love. I am connected. And this might be something I need to do every single day, 10, 20, 30 times a day. But the more often I commit, the more often I return, the more often I can break the cycle. Because all anxiety, depression, bipolar is just I've been playing that tape recorder, but I am ready to break it. Beautiful. I hope that helped you. Mental health is a real doozy in our society. But here I've got a few requests for you. I've recently discovered that in order to grow my podcast channel, I'm going to ask my listeners to do 3 or 4 things, if they could, from the bottom of my heart to them. Number 1, could you share it with somebody? Number 2, could you give me a review on my podcast, preferably good? Could you like my podcast? Could you subscribe? Those are 3 things. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, very similar. Number 1, subscribe to my podcast. Number 2, put a comment. Same thing on podcast. Can you put a comment down there? Can you like it? Can you share it? That will help me grow my audience, my following, and that would really benefit me and you. Because then the more people who follow me, the more I can put out more and more podcasts. So I'm sending you so much love, and I thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you for sharing this with me. And again, feel free to send me any emails of things you want me to cover, topics, and so on. I'm sending you lots of love. Have a beautiful day.